The SwiftKnowledge solution is designed first and foremost for non-technical business users. However, the interface provides an enormous amount of flexibility and power that technical users may want to use. Depending on how your security level is set, it controls what functionality you're allowed to have, so that it can be tightened all the way down so that basically you have a read-only sort of access, or it can be opened up to the point where you are publishing and creating content for others, you're doing self ad hoc analysis, or you can even be administrating the site for use by other people. What I'd like to do is just walk through some of the examples of the functionality that a user may have, just to give you an idea of the breadth of use as well as the simplicity of it. What we're looking at right now is a number of categories or variables, or we call sometimes dimensions, across the top here. These can all be filtered. I can open up any number of them and I can click through and I can see multiple levels. In this case, one holding company or bank rolls out into charters or regions, and then each one has branches. By rolling it all up, I can clear it out and I can select one, or I can select multiple categories. And by hitting OK, it'll run on the fly. Let's roll that back up again. In addition to having calendar date periods available, you can create custom views. In this case, this rolling 12-month view was created in a calculator. This shows you the actual code for support purposes, but the interface for which you select and make choices are very simple, straightforward, and use the name of the fields that an end user would see. Measures or numeric data can come from multiple sources. Some of this data is coming from a core system, some of it is coming from a profitability system. All of that data is loaded into our integration data model, but seamlessly it's being delivered to the end user, such that to the end user it's all coming from one particular area. Right now we're looking at products and the product hierarchy, and we're looking at the weighted average rate over a rolling 12-month period. I can go into any one of these and I can drill down into detail. So as I drill down into loans, I follow through my hierarchy, which is dynamically created by the data in the system, and I can go down as many levels as there are in my data. I have sort of a breadcrumb trail here that lets me jump up one level or two levels, or as high up as I want, and then navigate back down another path. Next, these buttons are available for me to introduce new fields. By having a layout here, I can go out to any fields that are available, for example, FICO score, or maybe gender. And I can scroll down to see those fields, or everything on here can be resized on the fly, and I can go in and I could say, I want to see this exact trend right now, but I want to see it for a certain subgroup of FICO scores. So again, one starting template that you can take in a number of different directions. Furthermore, you can change this on the fly. Right now, I'm looking at products. If I instead want to look at organizations, now I'm looking at weighted average rate by organizations across all products. Mixing products may not make sense, so let me just go in and pick loans. So now I'm looking at all of my loans across my charters, and I can go into an individual charter and drill down. The point being, again, very easily dragging and dropping, changing this whole layout. So when you think about creating content, it's very easy to create many, many different views very quickly and publish them out so that the end users may never drag and drop, they just filter. Or If you're doing ad hoc analysis, it's very easy to take this in any direction you want and continue to go there. Now let's talk about layouts. Right now, I'm looking at variables or filters up here and a chart here. But let's say I want to change this to filters on the side, chart on the top, graph on the bottom, or grid on the bottom. By having templates that are very easy to pick and choose, I can change the layout of this on the fly. So the layout may be something that's more appropriate for different sorts of data. Again, the fact that I can create this layout, make these changes, writing complex code underneath without having to understand how to write this code is something that can be very simply done. I can save it, I can give it a name, and then I can choose to save it and publish it into a folder that maybe others have access to. And I can save it so that on the dashboard it shows as a chart or a grid as a thumbnail, and then when you open it up you get the entire view that you see here. So whether you want to view it as a chart, as a grid, in fact even as scorecards or meters, all of that is readily available to you. All of these columns you can also do things on in terms of sorting the data. Or you can set column colors so that certain columns can be red, green, yellow. Of course, the colors can be changed very easily. And you can set up thresholds so that you can drive people to really see data and outliers and exceptions. Likewise, I can come in and I can create meters which then have alerts so that not only will it be color-coded, but it will be sent out to me on a personal BlackBerry or a handheld device that lets me know when a threshold has been reached. So I don't even have to log in, it can proactively let me know. And also I can filter on a value so that if I wanted to identify outliers, let's say this is a long list of customers and I want to identify outliers, I can look for ones that are less than some threshold, greater than, between, or maybe outside of certain percentages, and I can apply that at every level. So I can apply it at the highest level all the way down to the lowest level, and I can set different thresholds for each. What this does is allows you to take very large data sets and identify them so that you can filter down and then management by exception. This is just an example of some of the capability that an end user has with one starting template from SwiftKnowledge. Many templates have been pre-built, and then upon implementation, banks work with SwiftKnowledge and internally work by themselves with a little bit of training to be able to do these final changes to it. So what they end up with is a view that lays out and meets their daily needs or their needs strategically as they come up.